Hey y'all, it's Allie with the Rock Your Notebook design team, and today I'm working in my traveler's notebook. I recently got one with the Tomoe river paper, and I have to tell you guys, I know Beth talks a lot about how well it takes watercolor, but you have to see it to believe it. I love it. I'm obsessed. So I've been working on a lot of journaling pages just to get them really nice and pretty, and then I can go back and journal whenever I feel like it. So this one I started with some washi tape, and I'm just going to use that as a mask. And so I'm doing some stamps, and it kind of gives it more depth and dimension. I think in art journaling I see a lot of layers upon layers upon layers, and I love the way that looks. But with this super thin paper, I don't really want to add much bulk to it. My end result, I want to still be a rather thin notebook. So I wanted to find a way to add more depth without adding more bulk. So an easy way to do that is masking. So I put down my washi tape, and then I'm going to do my stamps. And I actually go around the washi with a pencil. And so it's kind of like that white space becomes another element on my page that's kind of popping out. And these stamps, these leaves and florals are behind that element. So it's a super easy way to add dimension. So here you can see I'm just going to trace around it and then pull up my washi tape. Now, if you're a messy stamper like me, you know those magic erasers? Grab one, slightly wet it, and all of your ink from anywhere that you didn't want it will come right up, no problem. Be sure not to rub too hard on your paper. It just takes a slight little rub with your magic eraser. But I love that. I don't have to throw my paper away or my pages away because I messed up with my ink, which I do a lot. So now I'm just going to go through and do a slight wash on these shapes that I've created with my washi. And I start with some teal blue, and this color is just, it makes me so happy. So I pretty much start every spread with this color. I love it. When I first started working with this paper, I was super nervous about adding too much water. It just felt so thin. I was scared I was going to tear the paper. But you guys, seriously, this paper is magic. You can add a ton of water, a ton of color, and the feel after it dries, the crinkly, soft feeling, it's literally magic. It's so beautiful. And it's so fun to create these spreads and then go back and journal over them. It's just, I love it. I'm addicted. So once I get all of the blue on there, I actually go back through with some yellow just to highlight the edges there. And I'm kind of making my washi shapes a little more three-dimensional just by adding a slight shadow to them so that they really pop off this page. I really want that depth. I want dimension. But like I said earlier, I just don't want to add so much bulk to this notebook. I have another art journal where I do a lot of collaging and adding a lot of bulk, and that's what it's for, and it's on watercolor paper, and it's super thick and wonderful. But for this one, I just want to add that dimension without getting so much bulk. So recently I did a blog post about art journaling and how I feel like it's very therapeutic for me, not only putting paint on paper, but the journaling aspect. So what I've been doing is just working ahead in my notebook and making lots of pretty spreads for places for me to go and journal when I feel like it, because sometimes I feel like painting, and then sometimes I feel like writing. So this notebook gives me all of those great therapeutic elements, and the bright, happy colors really cheers me up. So if you're looking to get into art journaling, I definitely recommend this Tomoe river paper. It's fantastic. So once I got my yellow onto my washi shapes, I'm just going to go through and add a little bit of purple to each side and kind of even it out. I like to make things kind of balanced. So I typically start in my corners and then work my way inward. So once I get this purple down, I'm going to go with my washi. It's the Dear Lizzie Lovely Day washi, and I've just added strips of it to kind of create a design, and then I traced some circles onto the washi. So now I'm going to go through with my white acrylic paint, and I'm just going to lightly color in each one of these circles. And again, here I'm just going for depth and dimension without adding a ton of bulk. And washi is great for that because washi is so thin. This is actually washi tape that's meant to be colored in, and I've done that too, and that's super, super fun. But I also like the way it looks, just black and white. So I go over each one of these circles with my white acrylic paint, and then I'm going to use my watercolors, again, in the same colors, the teal and the yellow, just to bring those colors back into the other parts of my spread, kind of evening it out, making it a little more balanced. So I do have a confession to make. I don't use high quality watercolors. I never have. When I started watercoloring, which is very recent for me, I got some tubes of liquid watercolors at a store called Five Below, which is a super fun store. And then I fell in love with watercolors, and then I got a Traveler's watercolor set by Jerry Q on Amazon. Just little pans, the ones you see in the video. And I know they're not high quality, but it doesn't deter me from watercoloring, and I'm loving it. But I do know that the Rock Your Notebook store is going to be carrying more paints and higher quality watercolors, so I'm probably going to have to try that out. I'm just nervous to do that because if I fall in love with expensive watercolors, then I've got, an expensive habit on my hands. So for now, I'm going to stick with my cheaper watercolors. But, before I even started watercoloring regularly, I was using the kids' watercolors and just having fun. And I think that's what it's all about. Just have fun. Whatever materials you have on hand, stick them in your notebook. It's fun to just create. And like I was saying earlier, it's just really therapeutic. So I don't particularly want my blue and my yellow to mix, which is why I dry in between my blue and yellow, because I'm not really looking for that green shade. I'm looking for a bright teal and a bright yellow. So that's why I'm drying. But yeah, I'm going to go through, and then after I get all of my paint down, I like to outline my circles in kind of a sketchy way with a black pen. I think it just adds a lot more pop. So then I've created another little mask. I just traced my circle and then cut it out. That way I can stamp in my circles and not get any stamps on the edges of these circles. I'm just taking this little flower, and I'll have to try to figure out what set of stamps this is from. I can't remember where I got it, but I'll post it in the description if I figure it out. So the last thing that I'm going to do is all of that white space. I was going to leave that for journaling, and then I thought, it's so much more fun to journal over the crinkly watercolor paper. So I'm going to go through with my yellow, and I love how this turns out. I really thought in the beginning that I was just going to leave it white, but I'm so glad I didn't, because it just makes the whole thing pop. So Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope I've inspired you to rock your notebook. Y'all have a great day.